Hi, I'm Chris Young, and this is my first ever entertainment news video blog. For several years now, I've been doing an entertainment news blog called entertainment.cyborg5.com, where I go through several entertainment news sites using an RSS reader and collect a bunch of stories that I think my friends might be interested in. So for the first time, I'm going to try to do a video version of these and see if anybody enjoys having me read this stuff rather than have to sit and read through my blog. So here goes. I'm going to start off today with a sort of a mini review. CBS All Access has released the first couple of episodes of a new animated Star Trek series called Star Trek Lower Decks. It takes place aboard a starship called the Cerritos, and it focuses on the ensigns and other minor characters who occupy the lower decks of a starship. It's sort of an offbeat, comedic version of Star Trek. I really don't like the animation style with the big bulging eyes, similar to The Simpsons or Rick and Morty. The pace is a little bit frantic, and sometimes it seems like they try too hard for laughs that really don't pay off. I've got nothing against a comedic Star Trek, but my initial reaction was that if you want funny Star Trek, you should watch The Orville. Not only is it sort of offbeat and humorous, it has some serious sci-fi features to it as well. I wasn't that impressed with the first episode of Lower Decks. The second one just came out today, and it's kind of growing on me. I did laugh a few times. So I'm not really ready to endorse it, but I'm giving it my review of could be watchable. Sadly, I cannot at all recommend the new Disney Plus series, Muppets Now. I don't think I laughed once in the entire half-hour episode, and some of the guest stars were given nothing to do except one or two lines. It just was a total waste of time. I'm really disappointed. Now, if you're looking for something better to watch, I would check out the new Perry Mason series on HBO. It just has its first season finale, but of course you can catch up on demand or HBO Max. Also, the second season of The Alienist on TNT is very much worth checking out. It just wrapped up as well, but should be available on demand. By the way, the term alienist is a 19th century term for a psychiatrist because they diagnose people who are alienated from their own nature. It has nothing to do with outer space aliens, but it's really good stuff. Finally, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had its series finale this week, after 7 seasons. Now, I have to say this was probably their best season ever. The series finale did not disappoint. It wrapped up all the plot lines, and it gave us a nice little 1 year later epilogue that gave us a sneak peek into what the agents were doing after they split up from S.H.I.E.L.D. There are links at the bottom of my blog article that have interviews with the cast and some of the executive producers. Moving on to pandemic news. These are stories that all revolve around the COVID-19 pandemic. Actor Bryan Cranston has revealed that he had COVID-19 and is strongly encouraging his fans to wear a mask. Andrew Lloyd Webber announced that he is a test subject for a possible COVID-19 vaccine and has been injected as one of the trials of a particular vaccine. By the way, he also announced that he agrees with the film critics that the film version of his musical Cats was a ridiculous waste of time. CBS soap operas returned to new shows on August the 10th. There's not been an original episode aired since July 20th, so they're back in production and showing new shows. The famous Radio City Music Hall Rockettes' annual Christmas show has been canceled this year because of the coronavirus. New York Comic Con, which was scheduled for October, has been canceled and will be an online virtual event only. Late-night comedian Seth Meyers will not be returning to the studio at 30 Rock until sometime this fall. He has been producing the show either in a room in his attic or a room at his in-laws' house. However, Jimmy Fallon returned to his studio last week with The Roots, his studio band, but no audience. He did have a live performance from a in-studio guest by one of the members of the band Fish. James Corden has returned to his studio in LA after producing his show out of his garage, or I should say his garage, for several months. And Stephen Colbert this week shifted from producing a show at his home to producing it in an office at the Ed Sullivan Theater. Actually, it's not his real office. The staff recreated his office in the studio, so he's doing it in an exact duplicate of his office. I don't know why they bothered, but anyway, that's what they did. The Broadway musical Diana, a new musical about Princess Diana, had been shut down just days before its official opening because of the COVID-19. They've now announced an unprecedented move that it will premiere on Netflix prior to reopening on Broadway, which is currently scheduled for May 2021. And finally, AMC Theaters is offering tickets for just 15 cents when its theaters reopen on August 20th. Note this only applies to some features. New first-run films, such as Marvel's New Mutants, will still cost you the regular prices. Now here's what's coming soon. Information about show renewals and casting news. The Nazi Hunter show, Hunters, starring Al Pacino, has been renewed at Amazon Prime for season number 2. Disney will stream the live-action version of Mulan starting September 4th. However, it does not come free with your Disney subscription. You have to pay an extra $30 above and beyond your regular subscription. They say this is just a one-time thing and not a new model for releasing films to Disney Plus, but we'll have to wait and see. It is being released to theaters in China because they pretty much have beaten down the virus. Reports are that theater owners in Europe are pretty upset about the plan of sending it straight to streaming, and although I haven't found any particular reports, I'm pretty sure that the U.S. theater owners are not too happy about the situation either. We're bringing back a favorite here. This month's winner of the Chris Young's Sure Sign of the Coming Apocalypse Award goes to Tony Danza and Alyssa Milano. They're going to reboot Who's the Boss? Do we really need a Who's the Boss? Has anybody been begging for this? Comedy Central is making plans to reboot its animated series, Ren and Stimpy. I never did watch the originals, but I'm big. Here's one I'm looking forward to. Judd Apatow will make a 2-part documentary on the late comedian George Carlin, coming to HBO sometime soon. 40s bumbling hero spoof of MacGyver, known as MacGruber, has been ordered to series for NBC's Peacock streaming service. That character began its life as a sketch on Saturday Night Live and then was made into a feature film in 2010. Reality competition show Tough as Nails has been renewed for season 2. Jonathan Pryce has been cast to play Prince Philip in seasons 5 and 6 of The Crown. And there are even rumors that even though season 6 was supposed to be the last, they're hinting there might be a season 7 in the works. Now here's a strange one. You all remember that back in 1978, Lucasfilm had a TV special called the Star Wars Holiday Special, which was such a disaster it was never shown again, and to my knowledge it was never released on VHS or DVD. They would kind of like to forget that it ever happened. But now we're going to revisit the Wookiee homeworld again to celebrate Life Day, and this time it's with Legos. This November, Disney Plus will have the Legos Star Wars Holiday Special, an animated 45-minute adventure that will see Rey, Finn, Poe, and Rose help Chewbacca race back to his homeworld in time to celebrate Life Day with his family. It's the same premise as the original one, where Han accompanied Chewbacca back to the Wookiee homeworld. Simon Cowell has been hospitalized with a broken back after an accident with a new electric bicycle. Kelly Clarkson is substituting for him as a guest judge on America's Got Talent as it moved to the live shows this week. He may be back in time for the finale. They aren't really sure yet. Also, Al Roker is taking time off from the Today Show for shoulder replacement. Moving on to politics and showbiz. There was a controversial episode of Blackish, Season 4, that's been sitting on the shelf for 2 years at ABC, and it's now available for streaming on Hulu. This politically themed episode was highly critical of Trump. Hulu's listing it as Season 4, Episode 99, which is sort of a common practice for unaired episode or special. They renumber them in the 90s. I watched the episode, and like many other reviewers that I found, I think it really reveals how wimpy ABC is that they would not broadcast it. The plot revolves around Dre calming down his infant son during a thunderstorm by telling him a bedtime story about the Nasty King. It uses their traditional animation style when they're telling stories about Black history or other little asides. While it is highly critical of Trump, the real theme of the show is fear. It explores not his fears about Trump as president, but it delves into other fears, such as police brutality, climate change, and other issues. Now keep in mind this was filmed over 2 years ago, pre-pandemic, pre-George Floyd, and probably pre-Black Lives Matter, or at least the early days of Black Lives Matter. I really thought it was a reasonably balanced and thoughtful approach. It talks about Obama's success as perhaps being a root cause of the pro-Trump movement, because people were concerned that Obama brought in so many changes, and it scared off a lot of conservatives. What liberals saw as giant progressive leaps were very fearful to people who have an innate fear of any change. Having an African-American president, LGBT rights, gay marriage, everything that liberals have celebrated have scared the crap out of conservatives. So I thought they took a reasonably balanced explanation of the current situation, or rather the situation we were in a little over 2 years ago when the episode was actually created. I did have to kind of scoff at the ABC logo at the beginning of the show and in the corner of the screen throughout the show. If they were not afraid to put their logo on it, why did they not let it broadcast? A little bit of hypocrisy there, I think. And I think re-releasing it to Hulu is maybe too little too late. I'd like to see them put it over the air, but we'll see if that ever happens. The broadcast networks have announced that they will only air 1 hour per night of convention coverage for the Democrat and Republican national conventions, both of which will be largely virtual events. CNN has announced they plan 6 hours per night of coverage, and although I haven't seen any particular articles about MSNBC or Fox, we can be certain they'll both be providing extensive coverage. Among the people celebrating the choice of Kamala Harris as the new vice presidential nominee is Saturday Night Live alum Maya Rudolph, who's already received 2 Emmy nominations for her portrayal or impersonation of Senator Harris. She lives in LA, and she figures they'll find her a way to get safely when SNL returns this fall. The Democratic National Convention will have an all-star lineup of musical performers, including people such as John Legend, the Chicks, formerly known as the Dixie Chicks, Common, Billie Eilish, and Jennifer Hudson, just to name a few. Finally, in politics and showbiz, Neil Young has filed a copyright infringement lawsuit against the Donald Trump campaign for using his music without authorization. That always cracks me up when different campaigns try to imply an endorsement by some performer by using their music when they know darn well that the performer in no way, shape, or form supports their candidacy. And I love it when they get caught. Now some miscellaneous show business news. Elton John is celebrating 30 years of sobriety. He said if he had never asked for help, he'd be dead by now. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has purchased a share of the XFL Football League. No word yet on what he paid for it, but according to Forbes magazine, he's the highest paid actor for the second year in a row, at $87.5 million. He's appeared recently in films like Hobbs and Shaw and Skyscraper. Ryan Reynolds, who was in Deadpool 2, is in second place with $71.5 million. Disney Plus streaming service has surpassed its goal of 60 million subscribers, and that was a 5-year goal, and they did it in the first year. Late Show with Stephen Colbert has fired music producer Giovanni Cianci, pardon my mispronunciation, after allegations of sexual misconduct. A report on video games, but this particular story really caught my interest. Epic Games, who creates the popular game Fortnite, has had its program pulled for both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store for violating their terms of service. You see, these online stores get 30% not only of the initial purchase of the program, but any in-app purchases, and it violates their terms of service if they allow users to make purchases without giving Apple or Google its 30% cut. Well, they rewrote Fortnite in such a way that you can make in-app purchases where Google and Apple don't get their cut. This whole thing was a setup to sort of trick them into having the app pulled from these stores, and now Epic has filed a lawsuit against them, claiming anti-competitive, antitrust practices. So it's going to be an interesting court battle. They're kind of on shaky ground because they've, willingly violated the terms of service, but they sort of prove their point that Apple and Google have a monopoly on what apps can or cannot be put on their devices. And so it's going to be a really interesting court battle. In the online blog version of my article, there's a link to an article from Gizmodo that goes into more detail about this. So I encourage you to go back to my blog and check out the links at the bottom of the page. We now move on to obituaries. First we have Alan Parker, who was the director of films such as Bugsy Malone, Midnight Express, and Evita. After a long illness, he passed at age 76. Discovery Channel Deadliest Catch star Malon Reyes has died at age 38 from a heart attack. Character actor Wilfred Brimley, who's most known for his role in the Cocoon films, is gone at age 85. I also have fond memories of his performances in John Carpenter's The Thing and the legal drama Absence of Malice. Brent Carver, who's a Tony Award-winning actor that appeared in Kiss of the Spider-Woman, has passed at age 68. The president of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, Lorenzo Sora has passed at age 68. 60s pop star Wayne Fontana, who sang the hit song Game of Love, is gone at 74. Character actor Raymond Allen, who appeared in both Sanford and Son and Good Times, aged 91. Actor and singer Trini Lopez, who appeared in The Dirty Dozen and who famously sang the song If I Had a Hammer, has passed from complications of COVID-19 at age 83. And finally, media mogul Sumner Redstone is gone at age 97. And in the description, you'll find a link to the original blog that this video is based on. At the bottom of that page, there are some interesting articles. One is how various National Geographic shows are trying to get back in production. After the COVID-19 crisis, they had 77 shows from Nat Geo had to be shut down. And they talk a little bit about some of the precautions and challenges that they have in filming these shows all over the world. We have spoilers from Matt's Inside Line, from TVLine.com, scoops on Lucifer, Umbrella Academy, and other shows. An article about some upcoming things in Outlander Season 6. A couple of articles about the season finale of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then finally, again, that article from Gizmodo about the Epic Games lawsuit against Apple and Google over the in-app purchases in Fortnite. So I hope you found this video interesting. If you do, give me a thumbs up or a comment or whatever, and subscribe. And if it looks like people are interested in this, I'll keep doing them. If not, I'll just stick with my written blog. That's all for now. Mouse 6.